In my neighborhood, I always had friends since I was little, childhood friends, but there was one of them who came from a background more like mine. While the other girls lived in simpler houses, we lived in the nicest houses in the neighborhood. While the other girls went to public school, we went to the only private school in the neighborhood. And that made us much closer because we saw each other during recess, we saw each other on school trips. She was a year younger than me, so she was a year behind me in school because of her age. Well, it was all fine. It's not that she was behind, it was just her age. And we grew up together, inseparable friends. We went through a lot together, like birthdays, vacations, parties, celebrations. We even traveled together with our parents. Why? Just because our parents were always friends too, but they became even closer after we came along because the two of us made our moms get together, right? They became close friends thanks to us. Each had her own life, but they met up, did things together, and still maintained their independence. But well, when I was about 13 or 14 years old, there was a boy at my school that I had a huge crush on. I was in love with him. He was the love of my life. And all the girls at school wanted to hook up with him, and he hooked up with all of them. That guy who was a player, handsome, the popular one at school, the one all the girls would hook up with, kiss, talk about, write his name on the school walls, on the bathroom walls, on the doors. That was him. And I suffered a lot because of him, because my dream was that he would want to hook up with me too, because being with him, it was obvious that I always did everything for him. When it came to homework, I would do his homework for him. I would give him answers during tests, even though I didn't cheat, but I would help him by giving him the answers. And all my friends, every one of them, knew that I was in love with him. So much so that several other guys tried to get close to me, asked to kiss me, to hook up with me, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. It was him, period. He was up in heaven and I was down on earth. He was the love of my life, the person I cared about the most, the guy I dreamed about. The guy I would lay my head on the pillow and imagine what it would be like when we got married. Do you understand the level of love? That's right. And all my friends had this crush too, including my childhood friend. She had a guy too, but he wasn't from our school. He was at the public school with the other girls, with our other friends. And the girls would always talk about what he was like and all that, and he was a really nice boy. He was a boy who was kind of in love with my friend, and she liked him too. So it was mutual love between the two of them, and that made me so jealous. I was so jealous of that relationship because I also wanted my childhood crush to love me. And the girls usually they got the boys they liked. They had childhood sweethearts. One of them even kissed, hooked up, and kind of dated him. But when she sort of finally got to hook up with her childhood crush and then the feeling passed, like I don't want it anymore? Yeah, exactly. Even that. So I saw, wow, she's already moving on to someone else. She already got with her childhood love. And I still haven't been with the guy who's my first love, the guy I want the most. When my childhood friend, the one who went to the same school as me, started hooking up with the boys she liked, I was really happy. I admit, I was really happy. It's not because I was jealous that I wasn't happy. I was really happy. I rooted for them. Especially because every time the girls would talk about him at school, it was always that some girl had asked to hook up with him, and he said no. Another girl asked him to dance the quadrilla, but he refused. You know that guy who's like really well-mannered? I thought that was so cool about him. I used to say every man should be like him because he was really affectionate with my friend. And then one day he showed up at the school gate with a bouquet of roses and chocolates for her. Wow, that day I cried a lot, but I cried out of happiness for her. And I used to say, oh God, why is it that the man I like, the love of my life, doesn't even look at me or want to get with me? That really ate away at my heart. But then the time for the school square dance came. And, school square dance season, right? It's when many small things happen at the Sunday party. And then my friends, they were kind of already fed up with me. They kept saying I always whine about wanting to get with him, but never have the courage to tell him. You want to? We know, but he doesn't know. Just go talk to him already and all that. And I said, no, especially because the prettiest girl in school wanted to get with him too. And I would never allow myself to compete with her because she would totally beat me and I would suffer. I knew that. I was aware of it. I wasn't prettier or more attractive, not the popular girl at school with the body and all that. So I kept to myself, no, don't say or do anything. All right, then came the time for the school's quadrilla dance and all that. And then my friend was with her guy, the one who brought her flowers and asked her to be his girlfriend. But she agreed to be his girlfriend. Okay, keep that in mind. She agreed to be his girlfriend. My other friends were also hooking up. One was with the guy she liked and often hooked up with, but she and the other friend were also hooking up with other guys. I was the only one still kind of being the third wheel with all of them. That's when one of my friends turned to me and said, I told him, and he wants to hook up with you. At the time, I was like, what? Yes, but it has to be behind the school and all that. Girl, that's no problem at all. Wow, my heart leapt into my throat and dropped back down again. Again. It sped up, it was pounding. I said, oh my God, I want this, I want this, I want this, oh my goodness, and all that. We went behind the school on the day of the Festa Junina so we could make out. I went. When I got there, he was there. He was taller, fair-skinned with straight black hair, wearing a cap backwards and a sweatshirt. He looked so handsome, so warm. And then I got there, and at that moment, I was really shy. He kissed me. Wow, what a real kiss. I didn't even know how to kiss him, but I used my tongue. He kissed me, and I lost my kissing innocence right then. And then it was that big kiss, He kissed me and all. I was a little rushed, I was a little scared, but he kept pulling me closer. I said, no, hey, wait, calm down and all. He was already used to it, right? Making out with everyone, so he kind of started teaching me. He was really patient with me and all, and we stayed there for a while. Then we even chatted a bit. We talked a little. We talked about our classroom. We talked a little about school. We talked a little about where he lives, where I live, the street and all. And then we went back there. After that, he went to hang out with his group of friends. I went to be with my friends, but every now and then he would wink at me from afar. And I was beside myself with happiness because it was so cool. Okay, the days went by. And he kept talking to me. He would come during break time and give me a little kiss on the cheek, and I almost fell over. But he did that with all the girls. Of course I was upset. He would walk around during break with 2 girls at a time, acting like he was hot stuff. There were always rumors that one girl was hooking up with him, that another one was hooking up with him too. He paid attention to me, coming to me during breaks, putting his arm around me and kissing my cheek. Once he even bought me a snack, saying, I bought you a snack, and gave it to me. Things like that. And with that, he kept feeding my hope that something could happen between us. But my friends always said, don't get your hopes up. Because if he wants something with you, he has to give up the other girls. And clearly he's not going to give up the other girls. Just look at how he is. So it's better for you to accept being just one more for him rather than actually demanding something and ending up not being with him anymore. And I thought that made a lot of sense. It's true. I'd rather be just another person in his life and keep seeing the guy I like than demand exclusivity and risk losing him. I wanted to ask, but had nothing to offer to make him stay, so I accepted things as they were. All right. Then one day, my friend who had said yes when her boyfriend asked her to be his girlfriend, he came up to me. She was kind of shaken, but she was really pissed off. She was nervous, she was angry, and she had broken up with him. And all of us, we were like, why did you break up with him? But why? What happened? And she started saying she was tired of it, that he was annoying, that he was boring, that he was too romantic, too sweet, like everything girls usually like. How come? She was putting him down. And she said that the same thing happened to her as what happened to that other friend we have in common, that she kind of ended up with the guy she wanted. And now she realized that she could do it. She had others on her list. She also wanted to see if she could get with them. She even mentioned the name of another guy who was a senior. We were like, wow, right? Okay then, right? Fine. But all of us felt bad for him, poor guy, he's such a nice guy. And the girls who were with him said that he sat in class with his head down, always like that. In the classroom, shaken, sad, shaken up because of the breakup. Wow, really down. And all the girls, they were all so happy because he had broken up. Then, right after it ended, there were already girls wanting to get with him. And he was like, no, 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 rejecting all of them. Every day it was a different story. So with each passing day, we were living in a situation where my friends were much more rebellious and ending relationships with the guys they liked, while I was trying to keep seeing the guy I always wanted. All right? So one day, I'm there during the school break. This childhood friend of mine, she comes up to me. She turns to me. She says, "Girlfriend, I need to tell you something." I said, "What?" She said, "Yesterday when I was going home, there's a square in front of her house." She said, "So and so, the love of my life, my Prince Charming, was there with the guys. He called me over. We started talking, and he kissed me." I said, "What?" She said, "Girl, yesterday we made out. I asked if she kept kissing him. She said they were already there, so she kept going. She kissed him, made out with him, and wanted to tell me first because she loves me and I'm her best friend." At that moment, I couldn't even express myself. I couldn't even. I couldn't say anything. I was so angry at him. I wasn't angry at her. As incredible as it may seem, I wasn't angry at her. At that moment. Angry at her. At that moment. No, I was angry at him, but I was supposed to be angry at her. I was really angry. And at that very moment, when I told her, "Okay, it's fine," I remember I was on my way to the bathroom like this. My best friend and him, my best friend and him, my best friend, like a sister to me. She broke up with the guy who likes her to be with the guy I like. What do you mean? Why is she doing this? My head was spinning, and who showed up in front of me? Him. He came, just like that, to give me a hug. I remember, I slipped under his arm like this. I looked at his face and said, "Never touch me again." At that moment, I went into the bathroom and I cried. I really cried. I really cried. And he said, "Wow, crazy girl." Okay, after that day, believe it or not, that boy started following me around. That boy I rejected, the love of my life, started following me around. Then he was like, "Oh, I want to be with her again." He told a friend from my class that he wanted to be with me. "No, I don't want to be with him anymore." And then my friend started asking, "Why?" Even my childhood friend said, "Come on, girl, don't do this. Don't be like that." What? Even my childhood friend said, "Come on, girl, don't do this. Don't be like that. You like him. Be with him. This is silly. It was just a kiss. It was nothing special. It didn't mean anything. It wasn't important." But the more she said it didn't mean anything, that it wasn't important, the more anger grew inside me. And I started thinking to myself, to hell with everything. To hell with everyone. My whole life here, being nice, being a friend, being honest, being loyal. What kind of hoe behavior is this? And I started to think, these girls, they're all a bunch of hoes. None of them are any good. In the end, that's what they are. They go after the guy they like. Then when it's over, they go after the guy their friends like. Is that normal? Is that friendship? Am I supposed to give the title of best friend to the girl who knew how much I cried, how much I suffered, how hard I fought to be with this guy, how much I dreamed of having something with him, everything I shared with her about my love, my longing for him, wanting something to happen, all my silent suffering that only she knew about? How could she do this to me? I was really shaken then, When she approached me, I yelled at all of them, saying I didn't want to be around them or have their friendship because they were just a bunch of fake hoes. And look, I went straight home. I went home, crying a lot. I was really, really upset. Really upset, Like, wow, how did she have the courage and all that? Then, guys, it's funny, right? It's like a movie. When I was getting home, who was coming down my street? Guess who? My best friend's ex-boyfriend. He was coming down. And then I thought to myself, oh, I'll do to her what she did to me. Right? She got with the guy I like, so I'm going to get with the guy she likes. Because we knew she had broken up. But her love, her first love, the guy she dreamed of dating, was him. At first I thought, no way, I'm not interested in anyone's leftovers, and decided to mind my own business. But then he came over and said, "Hey, wow, how are you?" We were talking, and I made sure to tell him I was feeling really bad. He asked why, and I explained it was because his ex-girlfriend, my best friend, got with the guy I loved. He opened his eyes wide and said, "Really?" I replied, "Really." And from there, a friendship started to grow, because then he started talking to me. Then he invited me to have a Coke. We went to have a Coke at a little bar near my house, and we sat down. And we started talking, and my dream was for the girls to walk by and see me with him there, just to see if we were doing anything wrong, like they did. But, hey, what's up? I talked to him, explained my situation, told him everything that happened, my thoughts about them, that I'd always loved him, and that we'd kissed. He pursued me and said some men are drawn to mistreatment. The more you step on, humiliate, or mistreat them, the more they like and chase you. But I told him I'm not like that. I wasn't born to be like that. I'm a romantic girl. I'm a girl who wants something solid. I would like my first love to be someone who would be with me for many years of my life, or at least to become my husband. I wanted my first boyfriend to be my first for everything in life. That I was under the illusion that I wasn't like the other girls, and that I was realizing that life wasn't like that. That not every friend is really a friend, that not every man is good and all that. And at the same time, I also told him that I didn't understand why she had broken up with him. I was sure it had been the influence of a third friend who made her do that. And we agreed that this third friend, honestly, she hooked up with almost everyone at my school and hers. She got with almost all the boys from my school and hers. The available, handsome, nice, and popular boys, she got with all of them. And that was her thing. She collected kisses. She loved to say that she had already hooked up, even if it was just a little kiss, like me. And the other girl, she would go and make out. She always said, "You're getting my leftovers. You're making out with my leftovers. You're making out with my leftovers." So, like, the whole school, the whole city would get with her leftovers, but not because she hooked up with the whole city. It was the others who got with her leftovers. So that day I started to realize that actually I never admired those girls. I badmouthed them because everything I wanted to say was stuck in my throat. I think I was trying to be someone I wasn't. I think I tried to get inspired by them in some way, but that's why I could never be who they were, because I was never like them. Actually, the first kiss I had, which was with Garganta, the one I loved, it wasn't my initiative. Because in my mind, it's the man who has to want a woman. It's the man who has to approach a woman. And in my mind, he's the one who has to be interested in me, not me chasing after anyone. I had that very clear inside me. Inside my little head, I don't even know where I got that idea from. And in a way, he was a really good boy too. And then at that moment, he took my hand, like he squeezed it and said, "Hey, let's go through this together. We're going to go through this pain together. I'm a lot like you. I've never been like that either." A girl wanting to hook up with me, I know it's hard to believe. And I believed him. Why? I kept hearing the same thing from my friends who studied with him, that he really was the kind of guy he said he was. Romantic, affectionate, who wanted to have a serious relationship, who always turned down all the girls, and I always admired him in silence. And there I had the chance to tell him that I had always admired him in silence, and that I wish men would learn from him how to be romantic, how to be loyal, how to be faithful. And that, unfortunately, the universe, God, put the wrong people in our lives, right? Because he fell in love with someone who clearly didn't value him. I fell for someone who clearly didn't value me. So at that moment, we found something in common between the two of us. But okay. After that, he walked me to my front door since my house was right nearby, and then he went to his house. After that, I distanced myself a lot from the girls, both at school and afterwards. We used to always meet up after class, always at one of our houses. I stopped going to those little get-togethers with them and kept more to myself. And then, during that time, this guy started showing up more often for me. He was always around. He'd invite me to have a soda. He'd invite me to have a Coke. He'd talk to me. He'd talk. Like today, a girl at school asked to make out with me, but I didn't want to. He'd tell me things too. And a friendship started to grow. We added each other on Facebook. We started talking on Messenger, and the friendship grew. Talking, 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 talking. I like this movie. I like this character. I like this song. I like this color. I like this food. I want to travel to this place, until we got to a game we both liked. When we found a game in common, girl, something just lit up inside me because we played the same game. And then we started talking a lot about this game. And then he gave me a little gift featuring a character from the game. And then things started happening even more often in our friendship. And then before I knew it, I was literally in love with him. I'm talking about just 1 week. I was literally in love with him. I didn't even remember the guy from school who, by the way, kept sending me friend requests, and I wouldn't accept them. I rejected him. He kept messaging me on Messenger, but I didn't accept. The girls tried to talk to me, telling me to stop being silly. Are we really fighting over a guy? I ignored them. It wasn't about the guy. Actually, we fought because of a lack of character, not the guy himself. There are plenty of guys out there, so you're hooking up with a guy you know I love? What kind of friend does that? If you don't respect my feelings, what else won't you respect? What? Nothing. And we were heading into adult life, and I wanted to bring into my adult life people who would respect me for a lifetime. I always judged and criticized people who fight, curse at their friends, and then go back to being friends again. Because I've always been very firm and calm with my decisions. I've always been very down to earth about what I want, and if someone is my friend, she's my friend. If she acted fake with me, she's not my friend, and she won't be anymore. And I'm not going to be your friend anymore. I've always been very clear about that, you know? So it was just a matter of time before I really cut all those people out. Of course, my mom came and asked what was going on, and I told her. She said I was right, that she wished she could be like I was, because she went through a lot in her friendships. She always befriended people who weren't very nice to her. My mom doesn't have any childhood friends, which is why she became friends with my childhood friend's mother, because it was an opportunity to have a friend. And this guy came to our house. It was really nice. He showed up at our house with a really cool basket. A basket of, like, yeah, chocolate and stuff. And a different kind of teddy bear, for example. Because at school, he showed up with a bouquet of roses and chocolate. No, with a bouquet of roses and chocolate. At my house, he came with a basket and with a teddy bear. And he asked my parents if he could date me. He asked my parents for my hand and said he wanted a relationship with me. And then I accepted. And then we posted a photo on social media. We made it official. And incredibly, we've been together for 3 years now. We're dating. He's the love of my life, the person I love the most. He's an amazing person, hardworking, honest, you know? Everyone likes him. He's kind. And he has this thing with me, you know? He's in love with me. He sends me messages, sends his location, calls me. If he's going out, he wants me to go with him. If his friends invite him to go out and I can't go, he'd rather not go. I don't need to ask him for anything. He's just naturally a real man, and it actually reminds me a lot of how my dad is with my mom. My dad is also like that with my mom, you know? And this friend of mine, both her and the other girls, when they found out that I posted about the relationship on social media, she sent me a text this long, saying that she wanted to ruin me, saying that I judged so much and did even worse. That it was just a kiss. And a kiss doesn't compare to a serious relationship that I'm bringing the person into my house. You know, like they wanted, I understood her, but I also didn't respond because honestly, and I even say this, and people also say that I have a lot of emotional maturity because her message made me want to curse and argue with her in every way, but I decided not to give myself that trouble. And honestly, I wasn't doing anything wrong. He was single. I was single. I wasn't her friend anymore. And she was the one who went after the guy I liked first, not me. And sometimes God did exactly that so the love of my life could come into my life. I don't feel guilty for being with my friend's boyfriend because I didn't do it out of revenge. I didn't get involved with him. I didn't kiss him. I didn't hook up with him to rub anything in her face. It was something that just happened. It was a situation that just came about. It was something we built. Our relationship was built over time. It has a solid foundation. True, honest, and without all the mess and fooling around like her and that bunch of fake people I thought were my friends. Today I'm here, happy with him, totally in love. We have so many plans to get married, to have kids, to take courses, to start a business. My family loves him. His family loves me. And honestly, we laugh about that past. And we really believe that all those misunderstandings with them happened so we could connect. Hi, friends. How are you all doing? What a crazy thing, huh? What a crazy thing. What a twist. Would you have the courage to get emotionally involved with a friend's ex? And what would you have done? Would you have ended your friendship or would you forgive? I think this girl is really strong, yes, because when we're teenagers, we're so silly about friendship. One day, the girl is calling you a slut and saying you're no good, and the next day she's hanging out with you, you know? So that's very common in our teenage years. We fight and then become friends again. She was very firm, she was very determined, she was very fair, right? And another thing I admired about her was the fact that she was in love with someone for such a long time. And just finding out that even though he was with all the girls and she was okay with it, but when he was with someone she cared about, he fell so much in her estimation that no matter how many times he chased after her, it wasn't enough to make her change her mind. That's an example. Nowadays, it's so hard to find down-to-earth girls with their heads on straight, who know how to put a man in his place, who know how to walk away from someone, who know how to end a friendship, you know, who know how to value what really matters, what's truly worth it. So I was really happy with the ending of the story. It was pretty confusing until we got to the end, but I thought it was fair. What about you? Did you think it was fair? Would you have the courage? Send me your story at historiascanalja.paulobadmay.com. Here in the members area, you can watch all the videos in advance. The link is in the description. Leave a comment below, share, kisses, and see you in the next video.